Hi everyone. It's a rainy Monday afternoon and this has been my first day's work since my spring equinox break. I take a break at both equinoxes and both solstices, and then I also tend to take a week off in May as well to go to Kerry. And those are sort of my holidays of the year. I like to have it kind of scheduled and planned out in advance because otherwise it's too easy. It's all too easy, especially when you're self-employed or just, working on your own steam. It's much too easy to just keep saying to yourself, oh, it's not a good week. It's not a good week to take a break. So that's one thing that I do like to schedule, and that I like to be fairly strict with myself about and just say, no, doesn't matter what's going on. This is a week that I take off. But actually that theme of things being scheduled and organised and strict and rigid, as opposed to being spontaneous and flowing, is something that has come up for me again this week in a pretty major way. And I know myself that this is kind of key to a lot of the feelings of dissatisfaction and feeling like I haven't been able to approach that kind of final beacon of happiness in the last couple of years. And I think I started out many years ago scheduling myself and making plans and making timetables and trying to fit everything in because I was overwhelmed, but also because I was so disorganized as a teenager and as a child. And anyone else who excelled in their childhood in school might have the same experience that I did, in that you kind of go through school and you sail through school and it's all very easy, but at some point the other kids start to catch up with you and you suddenly realise that actually you have to do a little bit of work to stay on top of things in school. And it's quite a difficult transition to make. And I have a few friends who had that same experience, that at some point in their teens that they suddenly realised, oh God, I'm failing things, for the first time in our lives. And that sort of freaked me out, and it took me quite a while between the end of school and throughout university to start relaxing again, because I started being so rigid and so scheduling everything and thinking that if I could just, I've said this before, thinking if I could just find the right schedule, that everything would feel good and right. And I've kept this up to pretty much this day. And I turned around the other day to my ex-boyfriend, who I'm basically just going to refer to as my friend from now on, because we're friends, and ex-boyfriend sounds sort of, most people don't remain such good friends with their exes. So ex just sounds a little bit like tangled and unpleasant, which is not what I wanted to be. So I turned around to him and I was saying to him, it's dawned on me that maybe I need to actually just wake up every day and do whatever the hell I feel like. And he just sort of laughed at me and said, I've been kind of trying to say that for years, but I didn't want to push the issue too much because, I was so dead sure about this need that I thought I had to schedule and plan and plot everything. Because actually deep down I thought I was just lazy. I thought that, and I still do believe that, if I don't have a schedule, if I don't make sure that I put in the right amount of hours every day, every week, working on the business, working on college work, or whatever the work that it is that I'm motivating myself to do, if I don't kind of make sure that I put in as many hours as I can and, do everything right, that I won't get anywhere and that I won't achieve anything. And I think a lot of people have this problem too. And it really was quite... It was quite a revelation to me just how deeply I had dug myself into that kind of thinking, by how terrified it made me feel to imagine living in a way where I literally just get up every day and do literally whatever I feel like. To the point where I just thought, I can't do that. I kind of thought, well, what if I never felt like dealing with any of the orders from Heart Story? What if I never felt like doing, like in a week or two, what if I never felt like making any prayer beads or doing any tarot readings or doing any mentoring and there were clients waiting for me? And, I kind of had this just feeling of like, well, no, it's not always going to, I can't just rely on the idea that I'll come around to feeling like doing what needs to be done at the right time. So I think there is a balance that does need to be struck, because I mean, my ex was kind of saying that, and he was describing the way that he works, and I was aware that that's how he works, that he does largely do what he feels like, but then he does pretty much work a 40-hour week. And he also did have obligations. He was doing a PhD until very recently, and sure, he was working on his thesis, so he could really just do whatever work he wanted to whenever he wanted to, but he was also teaching, he was also lecturing. So those were obligations too. So I suppose even people who are most adamant about that kind of lifestyle, the kind of lifestyle where you really just do what you feel like when you feel like it, people like that do actually manage to work a fairly normal work week and stick to obligations without feeling like they're compromising that sense that they're doing whatever they want to do when they want to do it. Because, and this is something that I had noticed in him, that whenever he just had a day where there weren't any absolutely like immediately pressing deadlines and he just wasn't getting any work done, he just didn't feel like doing it, nothing was working out for him, he was sitting there staring at a screen, he would just stop and he would just go and play computer games. And he said that, you know, you go play computer games, and maybe the first time you do this, or whatever the equivalent would be for me, obviously it wouldn't be computer games for me, it'd be something else, but you know, you go and you do that and maybe you play computer games for 4 or 8 hours the first time, but then he said, like, believe me, he said, you will get bored of playing the computer games after a while. And if you do that regularly, you'll probably find that even on a really bad day where you're getting no work done, you're totally unmotivated, you're exhausted, nothing's working out for you, you go and you play the computer games, or, you know, in my case, maybe read a book, watch TV, switch off. And actually maybe even after about 2 hours, you might think, you know what, maybe I'll have a look at that blog post again, or maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. And something that is on your to-do list will actually seem more appealing again. But yeah, I think my main point here is just that having to-do lists and having a schedule and having things that need to get done in the week, I think it's all very healthy. It is a helpful way of going about things, and I think it probably does make you more productive when you have certain goals in mind and everything. But I think everybody really does need to find the healthiest way for them to go about using those tools, like lists, to-do lists, goals and everything, and not end up feeling like we're trapped or on this weird stress roller coaster of our own making. And yeah, so I think that what might happen is that maybe I will have to allow myself certain days of the week where I really just do whatever the hell I want. I'm going to experiment with things like only scheduling a couple of hours work every day that has to be done, and beyond that I do whatever I feel like. Or that I might try to get all my obligations done in the space of a day or two at the beginning of the week. And then beyond that it just whatever I feel like. And it is scary because I kind of, the back of my head, it's like, well, what if I don't feel like creating the content that I want to make for Heart Story? What if I don't feel like getting to that ebook or getting to that novel? What if I don't feel like learning tarot, like reading tarot books or spiritual books? What if I don't feel like doing devotional work? What if I don't feel like getting up at 7 or 8 in the morning? And, you know, I just realized this is something I have to let go of, because if I never actually feel like doing any of those things, if like a month goes by and I have like genuinely, not from a place of burnout, not from a place of exhaustion or stress, but just from a place of like giving myself that space and freedom, if I have genuinely not felt any desire to open up an ebook document, or, you know, pick up a tarot deck or whatever the many things that I feel like I should be working on, then I really need to reevaluate my goals and my ideas about what I want to be doing. Because the whole point of what I'm doing with Heart Story and what I'm doing in this little interlude in my life now between my career as a librarian and my future career and going back to college, the whole point of this is this very different lifestyle that I'm stepping into is supposed to be that I get to do whatever I want to do, whatever brings me most joy. And I think I was telling myself for way too long that, like, oh, every single job has its own stresses, and, you know, starting up a business isn't easy, and there are just things that you need to do and need to get done, and I need to pay the bills, and etc, etc, etc. And the worst of all, actually, once everything settles down, you know, once things get off the ground, then I can live the life that I want to live. Then I can be the relaxed and energetic and passionate person that I want to be, you know, once I've set all of this up. And I just realized really clearly yesterday, with even greater clarity than ever before, that if I don't start doing that all now, then chances are I'm never going to. You know, if I don't step up and start living my life the way that I want to right now, then I'm just going to keep making excuses. And it is just fear. So essentially what I've done today is that, you know, I did a little bit of work. I eased myself back into the work. I, you know, went through my email and I did a few different tasks that I felt needed to be done today. And then I didn't feel like working. So I stopped and I set up this little reflection space. It's very kind of, I actually just picked these things up from my altar or from around the room kind of spontaneously, but there's a very sort of, it's kind of representative of my personal understanding of the divine feminine, actually, because we have Kali on the one hand, the very kind of destructive force, and the dark mother, the devouring mother, and then we have the Russian doll, which to me is quite representative of Gaia and creation and creativity and that sort of infinite fractal universe, where we just have an infinite kind of bounty of creation and creativity. And yeah, just the light and the dark, which is interesting. But anyway, yeah, I just set up this reflection space and I'm burning a little bit of rose and frankincense oil. And I just thought, let's do something different. So I turned on the camera and I thought, right, okay, I'm going to ramble and hopefully I will be able to edit this down into something slightly more coherent. But yeah, this is an attempt at me just starting out on this journey of doing what I feel like doing, in an attempt to re-embrace my sense of passion and creativity and freedom. I think I have a sort of newly awakened understanding of the depth of the fear that I need to release and need to let go of now in order to find the balance that I need to find between structure and spontaneity. Because there are other parts of my life recently too where I've been discovering the need and my ability to separate different responses and separate different emotions. And I think I've just generally had a new understanding of what release really means and how it can be done. I think, again, it's something that I understood intellectually and thought I understood on a deeper level, the need to release and how you have to release things in order to receive. But I think now it's come around again and I've had a deeper understanding of it on a different kind of level. And this kind of, well, the release that I've done recently has been interesting because it's involved not so much managing to just in one fell swoop let go of a whole set of emotions and a whole pattern or cycle, but rather just realizing that a more positive emotion, that there is more positive emotion in my life that is stronger than that feeling, and that I can act on the basis of the positive emotion rather than the negative one. So where that's come into being recently in my life, like literally like yesterday is when I kind of had this realization. I was in a situation that I thought was going to be very painful, and it wasn't. And I came away feeling fantastic, feeling really, really happy. And I just suddenly realized that my love for this person is stronger than the pain I feel because of the situation that we're in. And that was just so liberating. Just realizing, like, yes, it's painful. I'm very hurt and I'm very sad. And it's going to be sad for a while. But my love is stronger. My love is stronger than that pain. And they're not the same thing. That's been key. This realization that the love is not the pain and the pain is not the love. And that has allowed me to sort of separate the two in my mind. And yes, they're interconnected. Like, the pain is triggered by the love that I have for this person. But for the first time in my life, I suddenly could see how I can start to let go of that kind of pain. And it's just through having the conviction that my love is strong enough that, yes, I can spend time with this person and be happy because I love them. And at the same time, I will be sad because they're not with me in the way that I want them to be, and they're going away. They're like literally leaving the country. So, the two things are there. The two things are always going to be there, but the love is stronger. And that means that I can choose the happiness, that I can choose to focus on that love and on the happiness that being with them gives to me, rather than allowing myself to wallow in the pain. And it gives me this freedom to choose my actions, to choose what kind of relationship I want to have with this person, based on the love that I feel, rather than having to be controlled by the pain. Because before now, I thought that the pain was just so great that in these kinds of situations, in situations where relationships go awry, where I feel like people have let me down, where I feel like, something that I wanted with another person or of another person is not coming into being. Before now, I thought that the pain was just so great that I was in a stranglehold. I could never understand people who could remain friends with exes, because I thought, the pain would be too much. It would tear me apart. It would tear me apart to have that person in my life, because the pain controls me. And I just suddenly realized yesterday that the pain doesn't have to control me anymore. And that's part of growing. That's part of becoming a happier person, is getting to that point where you can, and yeah, you're releasing the pain, not by throwing it out, not by pretending that it's not there. And you definitely, I don't think you can just smother it. And just because you choose to feel the happiness doesn't mean that the pain will magically go away. And that's the sad reality of life. But when you think about it, if you can, and this is just one specific example, and I'm sure there are many, many more, but if you can separate the love and the pain and act from a place of love and respond from that love that you feel rather than from the pain, then that allows you to be happy always. Because no matter what life throws at you, you can feel the happiness and you can feel the pain at the same time. You can hold on to your joy no matter what life throws at you. Because they're not necessarily, they're definitely not the same thing. They get all tangled up in each other sometimes, but they're not the same thing. And the pain that your love causes you, it's not the love. It's not the love. The love is something different and more positive and more nurturing and pure, and it's something that you can hold on to. And even if the person isn't in your life anymore, even if you've reached a point where you know that your relationship is just, that seeing them, being with them, having them in your life is just not going to cause you, it's not going to bring you any joy, that it's not nurturing, that it's just, it's too destructive, you can still hold on to that love. that can still, you can still carry that with you. And that might help you ease the pain of the separation too. So I think it works whether or not they're actually still in your life. And like I say, I think this definitely goes with, you know, many different aspects of life as well. Obviously I'm talking about a very specific situation. But yeah, just that realization that I don't need to be controlled by this pain anymore, and I don't need the pain anymore. It made me realize how much I'd been clinging to the pain for years. And this is something that is very easy to do, because sometimes I think we feel like our feelings, our emotions, our connections to other people are made more real and more meaningful by our pain. I don't know if everyone goes through a phase of feeling that, or if it's just certain types of teenagers and young people. But that's definitely something that I believed for a long time, and it wasn't nurturing. It wasn't positive. It was destructive and unhelpful. But it was something that I just clung to because I felt like I didn't have anything else. And particularly when I felt for years and years like, you know, relationships didn't work out for me repeatedly. I was in love with so many different people, and that was all part of the destructive cycle. And again, you know, it just wouldn't quite work out, just wouldn't quite get there. And I think I just wanted to lose myself in that pain because it seemed more real. It seemed like a waste of a life if I wasn't submersing myself in it or something. I mean, obviously I didn't realize that was what I was doing at the time. I thought I genuinely was stuck in the pain that I felt. But yeah, I just had this realization yesterday that, you know, I don't need that pain anymore. I've got other things in my life, and maybe I didn't when I was younger. Maybe I wasn't exploring my creativity enough, or my spiritual side, or, you know, I really do have true joy in my life now. And maybe part of that is coming out of some of the depression and really bad anxiety that I used to struggle with a lot more than I do now. But I know now that I have joy in my life, that I have people in my life whom I love and respect, that I have a spiritual practice that nurtures me, that I have this amazing online community who, I mean, all of you guys are just wonderful. I love the conversations that happen in the comments section. I love watching your videos if you make videos. I love being part of the pagan online community in general. And I love having Heart Story, and I want Heart Story to grow now and arise out of feelings of passion and love and excitement. And I don't want to allow it to get bogged down in the way that so many other aspects of my life, in the way that I've allowed so many other aspects of my life to get bogged down. But yeah, it was an amazing feeling, that idea that I can choose which emotions get to control me. That's where the choice lies, I think. I can't choose to just not feel the pain, you know. I can't choose for things not to be sad, necessarily. That's going to happen. That's life. But I can choose how I make my choices. I can choose which to focus on. I can dig around in my responses to different things and people and aspects of life, and I can find the gem. I can find the positive and nurturing and wonderful aspect of it. And that's where I can make my choices from. That's what I can focus on. That's where I can build my joy from. And this goes to, you know, this applies to all the different aspects of my life. And any related pain, it's there. I can deal with it. I don't need it. I will work through it, but I don't need it. So I can let go of it as soon as it runs its course, rather than clinging on to it and feeling like, you know, I think I used to think that if once the pain was gone, that then that meant the love was gone. And this was part of me and my ex. We broke up before, and it was a terrible breakup. And I clung on to the pain for so long, I think because we were completely estranged for 2 years. And I think the worst thought of the whole thing was this thought that he or the world could take away my love for him. by not being in my life, or by not being, not, well, he wanted to be in my life initially. It was, you know, by not being in a relationship with me. And I held on to the pain because I thought that by holding on to the pain, I was holding on to him, I was holding on to my love. And it never dawned on me that I could release the pain, but I could hold on to the love. And that's what I'm planning to do this time. And that's what I'm planning to do with everything, you know, all areas of my life, just to allow that dichotomy to exist. And yeah, so just to conclude, I suppose a quick summary would just be that I think at any moment in your life, there will always be things that are making you a little bit sad. And hopefully there will be more things that are making you very happy. And you can't always choose to not be a little bit sad, you know? Like you can't always walk away or out of those situations. You can't always just brush away those feelings without feeling them. But you can choose to act from a place of joy. And you can stop letting your pain control your life and control your actions. So yeah, I think that just about sums it up, you know, I think perhaps at the end of the day, being able to fully release stuff and hold on to what is nurturing and allow new things to arise may all be about that kind of being able to segregate the different parts of a situation or a relationship or something in your life, and being able to hold on to the good and act from that place of love and joy, and just let the pain, you know, let it roll out, let it happen, but never ever think that just because something is really painful that it's going to stop you doing anything, that it's going to hold you back, that it's going to mean that you're going to have to chuck everything out because it's just too painful. You're stronger than that. I think everybody can be stronger than that. I know I am stronger than that now. I know now that I am strong enough to follow up on the breadcrumbs of joy and positivity in any aspect of my life, while making positive choices to release any of the painful aspects. That's about it. I think that's pretty much summed up the thought processes in my mind for the last couple of days and weeks. I'm still kind of figuring out what I want Heart Story to be right now, I think. And I know that these last couple of videos have been getting quite personal. And ever since I finished the Paving Your Own Path series, I guess I'm still kind of figuring out how I want to talk about spirituality and in a more kind of practical way. But I will make more videos like that soon. But I'm enjoying making these videos now. I'm enjoying sharing my emotional journey with you all. So I hope that some of you are finding some comfort or some wisdom or just some camaraderie in these videos. Because I'm feeling very called to share this with you on a much deeper level than I have before. So yeah, thank you for sitting with me in these moments of contemplation. And I will talk to you again soon, guys. Take care.